E agora, vamos falar de um tema muito importante. Vamos falar sobre liderança transformadora, que implica 3 pontos importantes, que são a diversidade, a ética e a visão. E para isso, vamos ter aqui no palco a Chitra Stern, que é presidente da United Lisbon Education Hub e também do Grupo Martinhal. Welcome. The stage is yours. I think the micro is there.
It's on? Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. And thank you, Nest, first of all, for the honor of speaking here today. Without even knowing what I have to say about liderança, visão, diversidade e ética. It's the first time I'm actually talking about that. So thank you. This shows, I think, how important these topics are to leadership. And, you know, that is the basis of our companies, really. The vision, the ethics with which we operate, in the communities in which we operate, with the people that we operate our businesses, and the guests, in this case, or the clients that we operate for. And diversity brings out the best in the company. So that's roughly, you know, an outline of my beliefs. So the light is pretty strong. Sorry. So Martinhal started as a product. How many of you have actually been to a Martinhal hotel as a guest? One, two, two people. I encourage the rest of you, please do come and try us out. We're not that bad. We don't bite. We're actually quite a nice hotel. And I know that we are for families, but, you know, family is also multi-generational. It means couples, it means parents. And I would say we're actually adult-friendly, not just children-friendly. We're parent-friendly. And we're ideal for what exactly is happening right now, which is people who've had time to think and reflect after 2 years of the pandemic, you know, what they are to do with their time. And one conclusion is certainly that we want to spend more time together with our families. That might be your grandparents, your parents, your uncles and aunts, your cousins. I know in Portugal, this is one of the wonderful things. Family means, you know, it's quite a wide circle, which is one of the reasons why I love living in Portugal and I'm still here. Your family values. So it fits right in with Portugal. And so we made a product, which is a family-friendly product, but with design, sophistication, and all the things that parents are actually looking for. Luxury, just because we've had kids doesn't mean we're not allowed to have luxury. How many of you have kids? Around half. So you all know, and how many women have kids here? Yeah, 4, 5, maybe 5. And I mean, it's not something against men, but I always say to my husband, you know, men can read the newspaper, Expresso, Financial Times, whatever it is, while there's a battle going on with their children. Women can't do that. We're just constantly switched on. It's very difficult for us to take time off, very difficult for us to relax. So the tagline I came up with, and I have 4 kids. So if you're wondering why we did this business, is because we had 4 kids. It's true. We were constantly stressed out. We were trying to do a new project in Portugal, and actually in looking for what we wanted to differentiate our product with, it was let's focus on families. Because we realized we couldn't go to nice places anymore. You suddenly become a pariah of society just because you've had kids. Anyway, so we started with Sagres. I think many people have heard of Sagres, and I know what most Portuguese people say about Sagres, that it's cold and windy. Don't worry, I don't take it personally. In this cold and windy destination, we managed to grow that business to a 20 million euro business without real estate sales. So that's got to make you want to try it now, right? What are we doing there? Why is it so interesting? How are we able to do it? So, And we opened that in 2010 in the middle of the global financial crisis. And banks here, as you know, if you can survive the global financial crisis and still pay interest and principal, you know, we actually could talk to banks then afterwards to discuss other projects that had happened to end up as non-performing assets and non-performing loans, as we were able to actually operate a hotel and grow the business in a cold and windy destination. So we have 4 hotels. We then expanded to Quinta do Lago, Chiado in Bairro Alto, and Quinta da Marinha in Cascais. And we have a 5th one in Parque das Nações, which is just around the corner. So if you're driving back from Bolsa de Turismo de Lisboa, you'll see a Martinel sign. That's going to be our 5th Martinel, the branded residences. And many people don't know that we also have opened an international school, which is the old, it used to be the Louis Pasteur Institute on Avenida Marechal Gomes da Costa, and the surrounding buildings, which used to be FPI, apparently. It's where TVs were manufactured for Philips. And then later it became Codifar, Udifar, and Universidade Independente. We bought those buildings and we've converted that into the United Lisbon Education Hub and the United Lisbon International School. The tough thing about that was that we opened in September 2020. Not too long ago, even the youngest people here will remember what was happening in September 2020 or March 2020. It was an awful time. We considered, should we open this, but we went ahead and did it. And we have 315 kids already from age 3 to 16 now, and we're building up our 11º, 12º anos, 11th and 12th grade. We have 35 different nationalities. Professors and staff number around 60 now already, across 12 nationalities. So we're very proud with what we've achieved. So all this is diversity, obviously. Diversity brings amazing solutions for problems, and I think the more we're able to get our kids used to being in diverse environments, the better performers they will be. And, you know, and there is a procura, a demand for international schools. In Lisbon, as foreigners move here, they can't integrate that easily into the Portuguese system, and a lot of, actually, around 25% of our alunos, students, are Portuguese, because parents want a different kind of education for them. And it's pré-primária até 12º ano. We do the IBDP. The first cohort graduating will graduate in 2024. I don't know how many of you know the IB. It's the International Baccalaureate Program, highly respected and valued by foreign universities all over the world. So, and Portuguese. They can also get into Portuguese universities. So those are our projects, and I just wanted to touch upon, when we talk about vision and ethics and diversity, and, you know, what is the vision? Sustainability. Rehabilitation is also uma forma sustentável. I mean, we won a prize, which was a nice surprise, in December last year at the World Architecture Festival, the Lisbon Prize for our renovation work of the school, because they said to have the sustainable approach for old buildings and giving them a higher purpose was apparently something amazing, and we're very proud of that for sure. And obviously in the renovation we had to consider lots of sustainable elements. We had to improve the isolation. We aimed to get a BREEAM qualification, and we have very good. We couldn't get excellent, but, you know, we tried. We worked very hard on the BREEAM qualification, which gives you a ranking for sustainable development. And the hub is a center of creativity, education, innovation. It's going to combine not just the school. The school is just the first part of it. We've got 5,000 square meters of office space as well, where we are welcoming tenants who want to be part of this ecosystem for education and creativity. It doesn't mean they just stay there and, you know, have an office. We have the facilities of the sports facilities and the auditorium and indoor sports facilities that we will build will be used after school hours by these office workers as well. For them to use them at the weekends. Because I don't know, I mean, usually you know what happens to a school, you know, a campus. It goes dead after 6 p.m. So this is another point of sustainability where you have different uses for the same spaces by different communities. And these companies come in with the understanding, Google, you should consider to be one of our tenants, have a little part, you know. Not everyone can be a Google. Not everyone can offer the facilities that Google offers in your campuses for staff. So other companies want a little bit of that. So that's the idea here, that, you know, it's for tech companies that are growing, scaling, for them to be part of this community and offer some campus facilities for their teams as well. It ticks quite a few boxes. I mean, you know, so you need to have a wider vision for whatever projects you're doing. And, you know, at the end of the day, the people here will also have the responsibility, whether you're a bank or you're Google or whoever you are, to contribute to the education of our children. I find it's impossible to find internships, estágios, for kids in Portugal. You need to know the CEO of a company if you want your kid to do an estágio in any company, which is ridiculous. So we're going to try to structure those things from a younger age with the companies that are just going to be next door. And we expect these companies to give and come inspiring talks to our little kids, engage them in global challenges. We've already had our kids participating in a global entrepreneurship project with other countries, kids from other countries, 15-year-olds. So it's before university, which is what they need to be doing. If you want them to have entrepreneurial thinking after years of telling them that they need to think inside the box, how are they going to do it? Sorry, that's my criticism of the education system that has evolved for the Industrial Revolution. So we're doing things very different in our school. Tech is compulsory till grade 10. Drama is compulsory also till at least grade 9. You need to teach kids to be able to present, to work in teams, collaboration, project-based learning. There are ways to do that. It's not just, you know, for older people. Starts at a young age. So, just a little bit about our school and what is going to happen in the Education Hub. You can find out more. I mean, we're on Instagram, on Facebook, we're everywhere on social media. eduhublisbon.com and unitedlisbon.school. Okay. Right, so, visão. I mean, as you can hear the passion in my voice when I speak about our projects. My Portuguese is very bad, so I made these slides myself in Portuguese. I use Google Translate. Thank God for Google Translate. So to have positive externalities, overall positive impact on the local economy, sustainable, and creating amazing teams. Okay? So it's a sort of high-level description of our vision. Someone just asked me, how do you manage all these different projects? Well, it's by creating great teams, because you're not going to be able to do everything, and you need to make sure that all the projects are sustainably running without killing the founders, right? Or the other way around, give people a chance, delegate, you know, give them a chance to perform. Do experimental learning in your companies. Don't kill them if they make a mistake, right? So, and then diversity is a very, very important part. Not just because I'm a foreigner and a woman. I find that many companies make this mistake of not making enough of an effort to be good to all the segments in their, you know, work pool. You know, minorities. Put yourself, you know, do those games in your companies of how minorities feel, because it is actually quite difficult. How does a minority person feel when they're, you know, trying to integrate into part of a team? So, And I feel that people at a higher level think, oh, it's all fine. We, we're pretty cool about women and brown people. Don't miss what's happening at, I hate to say this, at the lower levels of your company. Because racism, I always say, Portugal is amazing. It's not a racist country. The most welcome, open, tolerant, liberal society I've ever been in. But many Portuguese people then tell me, oh, Chitra, we do have racism. It might exist, okay? A little bit. Still the best country. I still sing the praises of Portugal. But do focus on it. Because to have a strong and sustainable team to develop, you need to work on that. And it has to come from the top. If someone has behaved badly, I give them a warning, made a racist joke. But they were drunk or they were in a... Sorry. I then take action. Has to come from the top. You cannot allow it to ruin your team, okay? So, and be understanding, culturally open. I have a difficult name to pronounce, but, we all have to make an effort, right? That's not the last thing they should be hearing, a foreigner. My father has a long name. His name is Ratnasabapti Sachidanandam. And in SNS, ever so wonderful SNS vaccinated my dad. He's an 83-year-old man during COVID. But they made a mistake in the spelling on the digital cert. And now I really don't know how it's going to be changed. Because, é nome tão comprido. É complicado. Sim, é complicado, mas ele precisa agora do certificado de vacinação. Please help me. So, just small things, can make a big difference in your company. And, all of you are supposedly connected to companies. You're going to be growing them, scaling them. Do not ignore this part of diversity. You get the best results if you have multinational, diverse team. Ethics. Every business school. I went to London Business School. We had a whole credit for ethics. And it's interesting, in different countries it can have different levels of meaning. But I think nowadays, I'm going to repeat myself for those of you who were in the earlier talk. I see some faces who were at the earlier talk. A very simple, how many of you have heard of the B Corp? B Corp. Okay, and the rest of you should find out what a B Corp is. It's very simple. It's an American organization. The communication is excellent, so you don't have to go digging for it. Just type in B Corp, and you'll find it. And find out what it means to be certified as B Corp. It's a simple thing. You don't have to become certified as B Corp. But if you go online and just do the B Corp impact assessment, search it up, B impact assessment, B Corp impact. It takes hours. I'm actually doing a course on B Corp right now. It takes hours to get through that huge spreadsheet that the thing churns out at you, but it's worth it. It covers all the topics that are important today that link to the SDG goals of the UN and ESG goals, etc. Environmental, sustainability. So look it up. You can do, you can just kickstart your assessment for no cost at all. Okay? B Corp impact assessment. And, they talk a lot about ethical behavior to your team, your hospitals, your clients. When I mix languages, I go a bit crazy, sorry. And the community in which you operate, not just the people around you, but your stakeholders, your suppliers. How do you treat all of these people is one of the things you cover in the B Corp impact assessment. But we've always focused very hard on that. Treat each other with respect and ethically. Through this pandemic, we kept on our core team. Yes, there was government help, thankfully. And yes, there were loans through the banks, thankfully. But we made a huge effort on top of that to keep our core team intact. And you do that out of humanity and the fact that you've built a family. And I must say, I feel even stronger after that. So these are just a few pointers, high level. I do have a film, which some of you have seen from the previous thing, but I think it captures, this was Imagens da Marca. We were very, very honored to be visited by Imagens da Marca as a brand that was worth talking about. And it's an interesting thing to hear why. So I'm going to ask them to play the video, and I'm just going to sit down and watch it myself.
Depois de 2 anos desafiantes para o setor do turismo, é tempo de olhar em frente, em direção a uma rota que se quer mais sustentável e de maior crescimento. Os estudos indicam que a experiência continua a ser um fator fundamental para captar turistas e visitantes, mas também é verdade que a aposta nos recursos humanos nunca foi tão crítica nesta indústria como é atualmente. São as pessoas que dão rosto às marcas turísticas e que fazem a diferença na construção de destinos únicos e preparados para o futuro. É este o ponto de partida de mais uma emissão do Imagens de Marca. Seja muito bem-vindo.
Nunca como hoje, o turista foi tão ativo e exigente, ávido de experiências diferenciadoras e inesquecíveis, nem nunca como hoje houve uma concorrência tão grande entre destinos e empresas turísticas. Neste contexto tão competitivo, as novas dinâmicas na procura e oferta refletem-se numa maior exigência sobre o setor, na necessidade de haver uma melhoria da qualidade dos serviços e na implementação de uma política de sustentabilidade.
Quando se fala de sustentabilidade no domínio das marcas em geral, há 3 conceitos essenciais. O primeiro é o conceito de brand say. O que a marca quer dizer aos seus targets, aos seus consumidores e quer dizer também ao mercado em geral. Há um segundo conceito, que é o conceito de brand do, o que a marca faz. E o terceiro conceito faz a ligação entre os 2 primeiros, é o conceito de brand positioning. O erro que muitas marcas, também no domínio do turismo, fazem é que comunicam primeiro, portanto, no fundo, ativam o brand say e depois ativam o brand do. O que vamos fazer para corresponder ao que nós prometemos? Tem que ser o contrário.
Primeiro fazer e só depois comunicar. É a filosofia que as empresas turísticas devem seguir para criar uma cultura de marca forte e sustentável. E em Portugal há uma onda de projetos que demonstram o sucesso da estratégia. Distinguido em 2021 pelos World Travel Awards como Europe's Leading Villa Resort, o Martinhal em Sagres é uma das 4 unidades hoteleiras de um grupo que tem procurado ganhar força de marca através da adoção de práticas sustentáveis, não só a nível ambiental, como a nível económico e social. Além da consciência ecológica, materializada, por exemplo, em sistemas de eficiência energética, hídrica e de gestão de resíduos, o Martinhal Family Hotels and Resorts procurou desde o início contribuir para o desenvolvimento económico e social das comunidades onde se insere, investindo na formação contínua dos recursos humanos. São eles os embaixadores da marca e da mensagem que ela pretende transmitir aos turistas, tal como sublinha Chitra Stern, empresária que em 2001, juntamente com o marido, assentou malas e bagagens em Portugal para fundar este grupo hoteleiro.
I think one of the most important things about hospitality, we can build beautiful buildings and the nicest facilities and infrastructure, but at the end of the day, we, over and above many other industries, have to work really hard at the human touch. You know, we're not a business hotel, we're a leisure brand for the family market, and it's about making the guests feeling completely welcome, going the extra mile for various members of the family and looking after them. We now have 4 hotels and resorts in Portugal, so it requires a lot of effort for that culture to diffuse through the entire group. and we put a lot of effort into it. Training, orientation, continuous training. I think once you have a core team, there is a culture of the organization that then tends to hire like-minded people who want the same thing for the organization. And then it's not a question of training, it becomes organic, a natural selection of the people that fit into the organization and want the same thing.
Numa área em que, devido a fatores históricos e culturais, o trabalho ainda tem muitas vezes um caráter de desvalorização e precariedade, capacitar os recursos humanos é fundamental, tendo em vista a melhoria das condições de vida dos profissionais e a sustentabilidade de qualquer negócio ou destino turístico, sobretudo num contexto que traz novos desafios ao setor.
Com a crise do Covid, nós vimos uma polarização do comportamento dos clientes. Portanto, nós temos um grupo de clientes que são ainda mais preocupados pela sustentabilidade. E temos um outro grupo de clientes para o qual a sustentabilidade, ao contrário, passou em segundo plano. Porque eles, no fundo, agora colocam em primeiro plano o preço ou a questão de higiene, segurança. Mas o colaborador pode ter um papel muito importante em fazer que estes dois grupos de clientes conseguem estar juntos numa comunidade e que as coisas correm de forma harmoniosas.
That's it. That's my talk. Thank you so much for listening and being here.